court. So, contrary to what a lot of people believe, I was not the one that brought Scott into our relationship. I thought Scott was coming down to the ranch originally as a farmhand and to help out with the ranch. That's what I was told. Didn't learn any different until one day when you decided to tell Stephanie and I that he was actually coming down and when. And then you told me later, oh, it's taking forever. You told me later that you wanted him to be a part of our relationship. That you wanted this polyamorous relationship that we had talked about years before. And then hadn't talked about it. And then you had actually had initiated a polyamorous relationship with a friend of ours, which fell apart when you became overly possessive and he couldn't handle it. So I was told that Scott wasn't coming down as a farmhand. He was actually coming down to be a husband. You also told me it didn't matter if I approved or if I liked it or not. This is what was happening. This is what was going on. If I didn't like it, tough shit. I could find somebody else. You didn't care. So, being in the state of mind I was, I agreed. See how things went. At least see how it goes. I liked Scott. Scott was a nice guy. Little did I know, after he got down here, it became very apparent that you were not being honest about your relationship with him. You eventually did tell me that you were in love with him and you fell in love with him online and he was your soulmate, all the stuff that you used to tell me back in the day. But you also told me that he was single and that he was in an abusive relationship where somebody was taking advantage of him. And that was one of the reasons why he needed to get out of Oklahoma. Guess that was all a lie, huh? Turns out he's married. And when you guys went to go get his stuff in Oklahoma, you got a storage unit and you emptied out her house. You took everything of value, put it in a storage unit, told me about how you went to the bank, emptied out the accounts, found out from the bank that the way the loan was written on her car, that he also had a right to it. So when you guys came back, instead of having farm equipment and four-wheelers and stuff like that I was told was coming down, it was boxes and boxes of gold coins, collector knives, silver frickin' ingots, her car, and her cat. You stole her fucking cat. What kind of a worthless piece of shit are you to steal somebody's cat? Ah, but wait, there's more. When shit went down with us, and you flew off the handle and told me that you didn't love me anymore and I was a worthless piece of shit. You didn't love me at all. And that you'd been planning on leaving for some time. And that when you went to Oklahoma, you weren't supposed to come back from Oklahoma. But Scott wanted to come back, so you guys came back. And then you told me that you couldn't do without all your stuff. Couldn't leave your stuff behind. Well, couldn't leave my stuff behind because you stole everything I owned. So, when shit happened, and you threatened to call the cops because I slapped you, and you and Scott both said that you were going to say I hit her, beat her up. Even though we've had to stop Scott twice from punching me in the face because I called you a bitch. Because you were yelling at me. See, the thing I find really funny about that is the night you came home from Oklahoma, Scott told me he was leaving. And I begged him to stay for your sake. He said that you weren't the person that he thought he was, that he thought you were. That you were mean and manipulative. And that this wasn't what he thought it was. Guess it wasn't what anybody thought it was but you. So I went up to stay with Daniel and Amy, who I love and appreciate dearly. Without them, I don't know how I could have survived the first couple of months. See, you left me without a car that worked. You lied about fixing the truck. You left me with a vehicle that didn't run, which you knew. Out in the middle of nowhere. When you knew they were repossessing the property because you hadn't paid anything in 3 months. You hadn't paid the cabin. You hadn't done anything. So you left me on property that you knew I had no means of paying for and taken care of because you had gotten it so far fucked up and far behind. I could have kept the property if I could have come up with $1,500 by January 1st. Didn't happen. Anyway, I went to stay with Daniel. I was with Daniel for over 2 weeks. In that time period, I texted you every single fucking day. Are the animals okay? I accidentally took the water department key with me. So you had no way to get water. So I was asking you how you were getting water. You told me that you went down and got a second key. Okay. Great. At least you're getting water. Kept asking you to leave my stuff. You told me you were leaving me my stuff. You were leaving me my jewelry stuff. Because I was the one that made the jewelry, not you. And you hadn't worked in over 8 months. So everything that was bought on eBay, everything that was bought for doing jewelry, everything that was bought for anything came out of my money. Because you had no income for over 8 months. So when I asked you, because you wouldn't let me take anything, I barely even got a bag of clothes. As a matter of fact, when I got up to Amy and Daniel's, they had to take me to the thrift store, which a friend of theirs owns, so I could get some free clothes, because I didn't have any clothes to wear. Had no coat. Hadn't had a coat in a couple years. But I didn't have any clothes. So Daniel and Amy helped me out with that. I texted you every day. Are the animals okay? Oh, yes, they're okay. How can you dare you? How dare you? Blah, blah, blah. Don't contact me anymore. But every day I texted, are the animals okay? Every day. They're fine. You told me you were only taking a few things and you guys were leaving. You told me you'd be gone in 3 days. That turned into a week. That turned into what? 2 weeks? I can honestly say I don't know when for sure you left. Because you cut off communications with me 5 days before I went home. Because you told Daniel not to bring me home until Sunday. Because you wouldn't be gone until Sunday. But you were tired of me constantly asking if the animals were okay. So let's go to part 5. I want to get this next part in one shot.